The wipers scrape against frozen rain for what feels like the thousandth time today. My grip tightens on the wheel as another powerful wind threatens to push the car sideways. April in New England has a cruel sense of humor. Winter never really departs, it just steps away momentarily. The custom lemon lavender cake rests securely in my lap, warmed by both the heated seat and my body heat. Brooke deserves nothing less than excellence for her celebration. She deserves a sister willing to battle through the century's worst storm to bring it to her. She's always been deserving of every mile traveled, every hour spent, every pause to clear ice from my windshield. She has always been deserving. My phone chimes. The road vanishes into a wall of white as I quickly check the emergency weather notification. Unprecedented April storm escalating. All unnecessary travel heavily discouraged. For in the morning seems like another lifetime now. I woke before dawn without needing an alarm, immediately checking weather forecasts. The meteorologist's grave expression filled my screen. This may be the most severe April storm in our recorded history. Please avoid the roads unless travel is absolutely essential. I remember scoffing at that word, essential. Family always qualifies as essential. The emergency supplies clanked in my trunk as I departed my building, mentally reviewing the checklist I'd prepared the previous evening. Road flares, thermal blankets, energy bars, additional washer fluid, snow chains already mounted. My work in museum preservation has taught me that preparation equals survival. Whether protecting priceless artifacts or navigating a whiteout, the principle remains the same. You're out of your mind to drive in this weather. The baker's words replay as I remember her expression when I collected the cake at sunrise. She accepted my $160 payment with obvious hesitation. Your sister must be incredibly important to you. My eighth stop to scrape the windshield happens at a Vermont gas station. The wind cuts through my jacket as I reach up with the ice scraper. Each stroke reveals another coating of crystalline white, like removing aged varnish to discover the original masterpiece underneath. My restoration background whispers that the most precious things often demand the gentlest care to preserve. My phone displays 3 unreturned messages I sent Brooke during the drive. Approximately 2 hours away. Nearly there. The gas station restroom mirror shows exhaustion in the dark circles beneath my eyes. I change from snow boots into dress shoes, the harsh fluorescent lighting creating an unhealthy pallor as I fix my hair and touch up my lipstick. At least this grimy mirror cannot reveal the hope pulsing beneath my weariness. Hope that this occasion will be different. That this time my efforts will be recognized. My parents' phones go directly to voicemail. Hello, Mom. Hi, Dad. Just wanted to update you that I'm roughly an hour away. The driving conditions are challenging, but I'm being cautious. Looking forward to seeing everyone. The final portion winds through mountainous terrain. Snow has transformed the landscape into something from a children's storybook. The estate materializes through the white veil, all granite and towering windows radiating golden warmth. A valet shivers beneath the covered entrance, his eyes widening as I approach. Are you with the catering company? He squints through my window, clipboard pressed against his chest. No, I smile, pulling the cake closer. I'm family, the bride's sister. His gaze drops to his clipboard, scanning, then returning, scanning again. Let me take your keys, ma'am. The foyer envelopes me in amber light and soft conversations. Snow melts from my coat, creating small puddles on the marble flooring. The cake grows heavier with each step toward the main hall. Conversation ceases like another blanket of snow as I enter the room. Dozens of impeccably dressed guests pause, crystal stemware suspended halfway to their mouths. I search the gathering for recognizable faces. Mom's meticulously maintained silver hair. Dad's imposing stature. Brooke's radiant smile. Nothing familiar. Then I spot her. My sister stands on the opposite side of the room in an ivory cocktail dress, champagne glass frozen mid-gesture. Our gazes meet. The glass quivers in her grip. In that instant, watching bewilderment wash over my sister's features like spreading frost, I understand I've committed a grave error. My sister is deserving. She has always been deserving. But perhaps I should have questioned whether I was deserving to her. You actually traveled in this storm. Brooke's arms barely encircle my shoulders, her expensive fragrance sharp against the melting snow on my outerwear. She steps away quickly, smoothing her white dress as though my winter clothing might stain it. Mother materializes beside her, fingers working her pearl strand. "We didn't prepare a seat for you." Her whisper travels across the marble like ice fracturing. A photographer lingers close by, camera lowered, his attention sliding past me as if I were part of the decor. "This is Jenna." Brooke's father hesitates, his bow tie immaculately positioned against his collar. "My older daughter." The words drop into stillness. Around us, guests raise crystal glasses, exchange polished conversation, existing within a realm I clearly don't inhabit. I notice place cards at each table, names inscribed in flawless calligraphy. Moving past each setting, my spirits sink deeper. Anderson, Blackwood, Caldwell, but only the appropriate Caldwells. Not a single card displays my name. The cake becomes more burdensome with each step toward the gift display. My conservation training echoes through practice movement, steady hands, controlled motion. Don't allow them to witness the shaking. A bridesmaid in a champagne-toned gown observes my approach, lips compressed.
"Who delivered that?"
Her staged whisper carries. It clashes with the dessert selection. I position the cake with exactness, centering it flawlessly on the silver cloth. My fingers pause on the container, recalling the baker's worried expression. $160 for an unwanted cake. The symbolism isn't wasted on me. Pardon me. My voice sounds foreign to my own hearing. I need to locate the powder room. The mansion sprawls like a labyrinth of wealth, each hallway matching in its grandeur. Oil portraits observe my retreat, their subjects wearing expressions as practiced as my sister's welcome. My footsteps echo against marble, matching my pulse until my phone vibrates. A group message notification illuminates my screen. I don't recognize the chat name. Brooke's perfect day planning. My number sitting there, accidentally included, a digital trespasser among familiar contacts. My thumb wavers over the screen. Art restoration taught me that sometimes the most crushing revelations hide beneath the surface. Like pentimento in ancient paintings, the phantom of original brushstrokes exposing the artist's initial truth. I scroll upward. Brooke's message from 2 weeks prior fills my display. She doesn't match the aesthetic. We'll claim the list was complete. Another message follows. Don't stress. She probably won't survive the storm anyway. The marble vanity supports me as my legs give way. My reflection splinters in the ornate mirror, professional cosmetics now streaked, carefully arranged hair coming undone. The woman staring back resembles someone who just discovered she's been rehearsing for a performance while everyone else attended the actual show. A mistaken turn down a service hallway spares me from returning to the celebration. Laughter drifts through a partially opened kitchen door, familiar laughter that once represented security, sisterhood, belonging. She drove 10 hours through a blizzard. Brooke's voice carries a slight slur, champagne bubbling through her words. For what a pity cupcake. What if she'd crashed? Another voice, Taryn, Brooke's closest friend since university. I'd love the silence in sympathy. Our thoughts and prayers go out too. The sound of clinking glasses interrupts their amusement. My palm presses against the wall, steadying myself as the floor seems to shift. The careful reconstruction I've maintained all these years, every holiday, every birthday, every crisis, when Brooke needed me, crumbles like ancient varnish under restoration lighting. Sweetheart, are you okay? An elderly woman in catering attire stands nearby, concern creasing the lines around her eyes. Her hand touches my shoulder, warmth penetrating my now cold dress. Come sit down. She guides me to a small nook, producing tissues from her apron. Take your time. Thank you. The tissue disintegrates between my fingers. I've catered for this family for years. Her voice carries the burden of long observation. They do this to everyone. Last Christmas, it was their nephew. The summer before, another relative. They exist in patterns. My phone weighs heavily in my hand. A conservator's instinct whispers, document the damage, preserve the evidence. Would you? The words catch. Could you record what they're saying? Just briefly? She nods, understanding illuminating her expression, takes my device, returns 3 minutes later. The recording will wait. Right now, my feet carry me back through marble corridors, past oil paintings that no longer seem judgmental. My coat slides over my shoulders like protective armor. Ma'am. The valet's concern appears genuine as I emerge into the tempest. The roads are deteriorating. Wind hurls snow against my face, yet it feels warmer than the chill indoors. Some storms announce themselves. The keys settle into my palm. Others ambush you completely. My vehicle vanishes into the white curtain of snow, party lights diminishing in my rearview mirror. The cake remains abandoned on their silver tablecloth, a $160 monument to a lifetime of appearing for people who never planned to reserve space for me. The windshield wipers combat fresh snowfall, keeping rhythm like a timepiece. Each sweep reveals another yard of road ahead. Not the route I traveled here, but the one leading away, leading home. The Starlight Motel sign blinks against gray clouds, casting sporadic shadows across my windshield. 20 miles feels simultaneously too distant and not distant enough from the estate. The night attendant barely looks up from his paperback novel, sliding a brass key across the counter without remarking on my formal attire or smeared makeup. Room 114 greets me with outdated wallpaper and honest fluorescent illumination. No artifice here. No meticulously crafted facade. Simply a clean bed and silence, interrupted only by the gentle hum of an aging heating unit. My heels tap against worn flooring as I move to the bathroom. The mirror reveals a stranger wearing my features, someone who drove through a blizzard to deliver affection wrapped in frosting, only to discover herself erased from the guest registry of her own sister's celebration. I remove my cosmetics with mechanical precision, each swipe of the cloth exposing another layer of reality. The emerald dress, selected to complement Brooke's wedding colors, hangs limply from a plastic hook, an abandoned dream caught in harsh bathroom lighting. My phone rests dark on the nightstand, 67 notifications blinking accusingly from its screen. I power it down with deliberate finality, choosing quiet over deception. Snow continues steadily outside my window, each flake catching streetlight before dissolving into darkness. The view blurs as memories emerge uninvited. 12-year-old me pushing 8-year-old Brooke away from a falling branch, earning both a scar and temporary approval. 16-year-old me declining a spring dance invitation to stay home with Brooke during her first heartbreak. 23-year-old me co-signing Brooke's first apartment lease when our parents refused, certain she needed to learn accountability. A pattern materializes in the falling snow, stark as tire tracks across untouched white. Every sacrifice met with expectation rather than appreciation, every protective gesture twisted into evidence of my controlling behavior, every accomplishment minimized to avoid overshadowing Brooke's brilliance. The first tear falls without permission. I observe it trace my cheek in the window's reflection, no longer attempting to brush it away. These aren't tears of pain. Those will arrive later, I suspect. These tears carry the burden of clarity, of witnessing decades of careful manipulation exposed in a single evening. Morning arrives with harsh honesty, sunlight reflecting off fresh snow until the world appears drained of shadow. I power on my phone, watching it vibrate with accumulated messages. Mom, you embarrassed your sister. How could you? Dad, we expect better from you. Brooke, you ruined everything again. Mom, call me immediately. Dad, your behavior was inexcusable. Brooke, I can't believe you made this about you. 14 missed calls, 23 texts, not one inquiring whether I survived the historic storm. Not one concerned whether their eldest daughter navigated treacherous mountain roads safely. The family narrative spins without my participation. I'm already cast as the antagonist in their carefully constructed story. My thumb hovers over Instagram, knowing what I'll discover, but needing to witness it anyway. Brooke's profile loads with professional photographs from last night, sisters in matching poses with linked arms, excluding the empty space where I should have stood. Parents beaming at their younger daughter, while champagne glasses catch crystal light, candid laughter that appears rehearsed. Brooke's caption reads, "Perfect evening with everyone who truly matters. Blessed family first." The words burn like ice against skin. I open my own profile, hands steady as I select 3 photographs, the untouched cake on my passenger seat, dawn light catching its delicate piping, my windshield half buried in snow, wipers straining against the storm, a quiet selfie in the motel mirror, emerald dress replaced by an oversized sweater, eyes clear despite smeared mascara. My caption forms without thought. Sometimes you appear for people who wouldn't shovel your name off a sidewalk. The first comment appears within minutes. Susan McKenzie, our childhood neighbor. This doesn't surprise me. Remember when they forgot to mention your PhD defense at Christmas dinner? More notifications flow in, carrying years of silent observation. You always deserved better than their mind games. They did the same to my brother last Thanksgiving. I've been afraid to say anything. I watched them isolate my cousin the same way. Sending love. My phone buzzes with a new voicemail. Mom's voice drips with familiar manipulation. Take down that post immediately. You're bringing shame upon all of us. What will others say? That's what Dad texted. This family keeps matters private. You've overstepped boundaries. Brooke's messages grew more intense, from, how could you both do this? You've destroyed everything, to Mom is crying because of you, to remove it, or don't expect to attend the wedding. The last message came through our family group chat. Brunch tomorrow at LeBlanc. 11 a.m. precisely. Show up if you want any opportunity to repair this damage. My response came with steady hands. I'll be there, and I'll bring evidence. Snow kept falling past my window, each flake bearing the burden of decision. Remain quiet and preserve false harmony, or reveal the truth and face the consequences. The choice settled like fresh snow covering old paths with new potential. I ordered coffee from the neighboring diner, allowing the steam to warm my palms as I observed morning commuters navigating last night's storm aftermath. Vehicles moved carefully, testing road conditions before proceeding. A recollection emerged, Mom coaching Brooke for family photographs, perfecting her expression until it appeared natural. Remember, sweetheart, she'd instruct, the proper image holds more value than messy reality. The coffee scorched my tongue, its sharp warmth dispelling my final doubts. Tomorrow's brunch would serve something more substantial than French toast and 4 smiles. They desired the flawless family portrait. Time to reveal the unretouched version. Room 114's bathroom mirror showed a woman I hardly knew. My fingers arranged each item on the stained counter with the same care I used handling ancient artifacts at the museum. The small recording device held yesterday's truth, preserved like an insect in amber. The gas station receipt documented 497 miles through winter's rage. The cake receipt bore my sister's signature and a note that pierced my heart. For Brooke's special day. My charcoal suit hung pristine against the deteriorating wallpaper. No flash, no decoration, nothing to distract from the words I would speak. Grandma Catherine's watch measured each steady breath. She taught me that honor needs no spectators. Table for Caldwell, the hostess declared, escorting me into Bellamy's, where Sunday's affluent diners enjoyed eggs Benedict and champagne cocktails. My family gathered at a corner table, their rigid postures forming a united barrier. The vacant chair seemed to wear a target. I stayed on my feet. Jenna. Mother's tone carried that recognizable blend of steel and silk. You're creating a disturbance. Take a seat. We're here to settle this discreetly. This requires careful handling, Father stated in his courtroom voice, designed for swaying juries. His fingers tapped the white tablecloth, a tell I'd learned to recognize during childhood interrogations. Brooke began what seemed like a prepared presentation, her hands clasped like a preacher's. Family chooses compassion over pride. We can resolve this if you'll simply. I traveled 10 hours through a snowstorm. My voice cut across the table, sharp as a blade. The breakfast crowd's chatter dimmed. No place setting. Nobody came. No concern about my survival. You're distorting things, Brooke protested, her champagne glass trembling, creating waves in her mimosa. Actually, I documented things. I retrieved the small speaker from my purse. Color fled from Brooke's face as her own voice filled our restaurant corner. She traveled 10 hours through a snowstorm for what? Pathetic. Cruel laughter followed. What if she'd crashed? I'd love the silence and pity. Mother lunged forward. Shut that off immediately. Her sleeve dragged through the hollandaise sauce. You don't get to rewrite this. Brooke's manicured fingers scrambled for the speaker. The neighboring couple abandoned all pretense of ignoring us. I raised the device beyond her reach. You rewrote it when you chose humiliation over honesty. My fingers found the remaining items in my bag. The gas receipt fluttered onto the tablecloth like a fallen leaf. The cake receipt landed beside it, the damaging note face up. For Brooke's special day. I would have sent the cake with affection. The words emerged softly, meant more for myself. I simply wouldn't have driven through a blizzard to deliver it personally. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed fresh snow falling outside, gentle now, unlike yesterday's fury. My heels clicked against marble as I walked away from their narrative, from the desperate scramble of their voices behind me. The hostess caught my attention as I passed, her weathered face holding a lifetime of Sunday morning scenes. Your vehicle is prepared, ma'am. I paused at the entrance, not to glance back at my family, but at the empty chair. The ghost of my former self lingered there, the dutiful daughter, the dependable sister, the guardian of family harmony at any cost. She dissolved like snow against glass as I stepped into the winter morning. The steering wheel welcomed my hands like an old companion. Through the windshield, I watched my family burst from the restaurant doors. Mother's scarf streamed behind her like a war banner. Father's face bore the thundercloud expression that once sent me seeking shelter. Brooke stood frozen on the steps, mascara creating dark trails down her cheeks. I started the engine. Warm air blew against my face, carrying away the last chill of their expectations. Yesterday's blizzard had taught me about survival. Sometimes you must drive through the storm to find clear skies. Sometimes the path home leads away from familiar routes. My tires crunched fresh powder as I pulled from the curb. In my rearview mirror, my family became mere figures in the snow, no longer towering over my life. The air in my lungs felt full and clean as I navigated toward a future unmarked by their blueprints. The traffic light ahead glowed red. I waited, watching snowflakes dance in my headlights. Each one unique, they say, each following its own path to Earth. The light turned green and I accelerated into the gentle storm, finally understanding that some bridges burn not to destroy, but to illuminate the way forward. Dawn painted the highway in amber and rose, a gentler light than yesterday's blinding white. My fingers drummed the steering wheel, no longer battling ice, but keeping rhythm with an old eagle song. Home stretched ahead, 500 miles of asphalt between me and my authentic life. My phone buzzed for the 40th time since brunch. The screen showed an unfamiliar number, but the voicemail displayed a name I hadn't heard in years. Aunt Lorraine. I pulled into a rest stop beneath a sprawling oak and pressed play. Jenna, darling. Her Louisiana accent wrapped around my name like a warm embrace. That video of you at brunch is circulating through the family group chat. You didn't just defend yourself, you incinerated the entire script. About time someone did. A pause, then softer. Call me when you're ready. I have stories you need to hear. 3 more voicemails waited. Cousin David, whose Christmas party invitation mysteriously disappeared 2 years ago. Uncle Marcus, who stopped attending gatherings after what Mom termed his embarrassing divorce. Even Brooke's future mother-in-law, requesting to postpone their planned dinner until we understand some troubling patterns. The facade crumbled piece by piece. My phone chimed with a text notification, a screenshot from Brooke's engagement announcement. Comments accumulated beneath the perfect photo. Wasn't there another sister? Where's Jenna? Didn't she drive through that terrible storm? Mom's responses appeared and vanished like smoke signals, each deletion fueling more questions. 20 years of carefully curated family photos suddenly revealed their gaps. The missing sister, the absent cousins, the uninvited aunt. Truth spread like spring thaw. My key turned in my apartment lock at sunset. The space welcomed me with silence. No expectations, no performance, no need to weigh every word against potential consequences. Just walls that embraced my choices, my taste, my truth. Family photos lining my hallway caught the dying light. I lifted each frame, studying the frozen smiles, the careful poses, the invisible threads of obligation holding everything in place. One by one, they came down. Not all. The candid shot of Grandma teaching me to bake remained, The faded Polaroid of my first bicycle, the blurry Christmas morning when Brooke and I wore matching pajamas before comparison poisoned everything. These memories weren't staged for social media. They held genuine warmth. I slept without setting alarms, without checking my phone, without rehearsing responses to accusations that never came. Morning brought no guilt, no knot in my stomach, no compulsion to smooth ruffled feathers or translate hurt into digestible portions. Peace tasted like possibility. Weeks passed in ordinary moments made extraordinary by their simplicity. I drank coffee while hot. I left work punctually. I declined things I didn't want to do. The world continued spinning. Then a letter arrived, thick cream envelope, formal letterhead, unfamiliar handwriting. Dear Jenna, we've never officially met, though I've heard about you for years. Always in fragments, always with conditions. I'm writing because I need to understand the family I'm considering marrying into. Brooke and I are in counseling. The things she's beginning to admit about your family's dynamics have shaken us both. The storm incident was merely the catalyst. There's so much beneath the surface. I keep wondering, if they could erase a sister so completely, what else might they justify? I don't expect you to fix this. You've already done the hardest part, showing us the truth. Respectfully, James. I folded the letter carefully, smoothing each crease. My response took 3 drafts. James, thank you for reaching out. The family you're witnessing now is the family that exists, not better or worse than the image they presented, just real. Reality offers more hope for healing than perfection ever did. Whatever you and Brooke decide, I respect your journey toward truth. Wishing you clarity, Jenna. The call came on a Tuesday evening, a month after brunch. I nearly didn't answer. The number wasn't saved anymore, but something in me recognized the timing. Some storms arrive precisely on schedule. Jenna? Brooke's voice cracked like thin ice. I need to tell you something. I sat on my windowsill, watching pigeons scatter across power lines. I'm listening. I was envious. The words tumbled out, raw and unpracticed. God, I've been jealous so long I forgot how to be anything else. You were always so complete, like you knew who you were. Mom and Dad pushed us together and pulled us apart, and I didn't invite you because I was frightened. Of what? Of standing beside you. Of everyone seeing you and wondering why they settled for me instead. A shaky breath. The storm thing, that was just proof. Who drives through a blizzard for someone who didn't even want them there? Only you. Always you. The pigeons resettled, ruffled feathers finding new positions. You could have told me. Would it have changed anything? Yes. The simplicity surprised us both. I would have sent the cake, but I wouldn't have driven through the storm to deliver it myself. Silence stretched between us, lighter than before. I started therapy, Brooke said quietly. Actual therapy, not just counseling with James. There's a lot to unpack. Good. The word came without barbs, without hidden hooks. That's the most human thing you've said to me in years. Can we? She stopped, recalibrated. I know I can't ask for anything, but if there's ever a chance. I'm open to a relationship, I told her. Just not the one we had before. That one cost too much. The pigeons took flight, a sudden rush of wings against the darkening sky. Something shifted in their absence. A weight lifting, a door closing, a window opening. Some storms do clear the air. Autumn sun streamed through my living room windows, catching dust motes dancing above potted ferns. 6 months ago, these walls bore the sage green paint my mother selected. Now they glowed terracotta, warming the space like perpetual sunset. My guests sprawled across second-hand furniture chosen for comfort rather than coordinated perfection. Pass the bread, our goddess. Rachel extended grabby fingers toward the sourdough loaf. I slid the cutting board her way. She'd been calling me that since I salvaged her great-grandmother's wedding portrait from water damage last spring. Still can't believe you managed to save those colors. Mark raised his wine glass in mock toast. To Jenna, preserver of memories, worshipper of the empty chair. My table's single vacant seat caught the light. I used to fill every chair, cramming in bodies to avoid the appearance of absence. Now that open space reminded me that choices matter more than capacity. Laughter bubbled from my chest, unrehearsed and unfettered by the constant mental editing that ruled my life 6 months ago. These people knew my story. They witnessed my undoing and rebuilding. They brought casseroles when I was sick and told me hard truths when I needed them. My phone buzzed. Mom's latest text glowed on screen. Thanksgiving plans discussion needed. Traditional family dinner at 4. Broken Thomas confirmed. Your chair will be waiting. The old Jenna would have responded instantly, fingers flying to type. Of course, wouldn't miss it. That Jenna would have canceled plans with friends who actually wanted her there, would have driven 10 hours to sit in a chair that felt more like a witness stand than a family seat. I set the phone aside and speared a roasted carrot. The text could wait until tomorrow. My therapist Julie calls this living at my own tempo. The journal on my desk holds 6 months of weekly sessions, pages filled with gradually untangling obligation from love. You know what this sauce needs? Mark sniffed his plate with exaggerated concentration. A little more garlic. Everything needs more garlic in your world. Rachel threw a dinner roll at his head. He caught it one-handed and took a huge bite. The timer chimed from my kitchen. Hold that thought about the garlic revolution. I slid my chair back, bare feet silent on hardwood floors that no longer needed to amplify my presence. Lemon cake scent filled the kitchen. Simple, classic. No lavender this time. No desperate attempt to prove worth through complicated recipes. Just butter, sugar, flour, and zest combined with the precision my conservation work taught me to value. Last week's conversation with Brooke played in my mind as I tested the cake with a toothpick. Her voice carried new tones, less polish, more rust. I started seeing Dr. Harrison. She's helping me understand why. The silence stretched between us, heavy with unspoken recognition. It's hard, Jenna. Looking at yourself without the filter. Yes, I'd answered, not rushing to smooth her discomfort, not offering absolution she hadn't earned, just witnessing her first stumbling steps toward honesty. The cake released from the pan with satisfying ease. No elaborate decorations needed, no message to prove. Just the quiet pleasure of creation for its own sake. Dad still won't take my calls. Mom alternates between guilt trips and passive-aggressive hints about reconciliation on her terms. But last Sunday, Cousin Sarah called. I've been watching, she said. The way you stood up spoke truth. I need to learn how. Her voice cracked. They're trying to plan my wedding, making the same old choices, writing the same old stories. The words flowed from my lips, carrying hard-won wisdom. Your worth isn't measured by their recognition. We talked for 2 hours. Now we meet weekly on video chat, a small circle of truth-tellers growing among the family ruins. Aunt Linda joined last session. Even Uncle Paul messaged yesterday, asking for the link. The cake cooled on my counter as friends' laughter drifted from the dining room. Through my kitchen window, the season's first snow began falling. Fat, lazy flakes, nothing like the blizzard that changed everything 6 months ago. My reflection shimmered in the glass, a double exposure of who I was and who I'm becoming. The woman who drove through storms to deliver perfection now baked simply for joy. The girl who spent decades polishing family mirrors now let her own light warm these walls. White powder dusted the fire escape outside. My hands remembered the weight of that lavender lemon cake, the burning cold of the steering wheel. But tonight my palms cradled a simple white cake, unadorned and honest. In my kitchen's quiet, I cut the first piece. The knife slid through butter yellow crumb, releasing more citrus brightness. This slice belonged to no one but me. I lifted the fork to my lips, closed my eyes, and tasted peace. It turns out peace doesn't need anyone's permission to arrive. It comes in small moments, saying no to guilt-wrapped invitations, speaking truth without searching faces for approval, choosing what to preserve and what to let crumble. Jenna. Rachel's voice carried from the dining room. If you're having a profound moment of self-discovery in there, that's fine, but we're starving for dessert. A laugh rose from my belly, real and unrestrained. Coming. I slice more pieces, arrange them on my grandmother's old plates. And Mark, before you say it, no, the cake doesn't need more garlic. Their groans and chuckles wrapped around me like a quilt as I carried the plates out. The empty chair at my table caught day's last light, holding space for possibilities I'm finally ready to welcome.